My name is John and I'm at Paint School on Instagram. I've done over $15 million in paint jobs and I'm based out of Huntington Beach, California. Aaron is at Alpha Painting on Instagram. He's managed huge commercial projects with impossible timelines and now is a few years into building his own operation out of Branson, Missouri.
And you should probably check out our full process videos on YouTube because they're pretty badass.
Our point in doing this podcast is to put our 40 plus years of combined experience to the test. We've seen a decline in the industry, and while I think it's a bit arrogant to think we can change it, we're giving it a shot. Listen up and let us know what you think. This is Paint Sniffers Podcast.
All right, so I think the end of this economic boom we've all been riding for the last couple of years is about to come to an end. It hasn't crashed here yet. I don't think it's going to crash here. I think here in Huntington Beach, like this Southern California coastal area, is probably not going to get hit too bad. But I bet like Midwest is going to get crushed. Are you feeling anything yet?
No, I mean, there's just talks of it, dude. You know, like I still get phone calls. I know you generate a whole lot more phone calls than I do, but like getting a lot of calls for me is probably 2 to 3 phone calls a day or every other day. You know what I mean? And then I think what's
That's pretty good.
standard or is, you know, maybe I'll get a few phone calls a week or whatever. The majority of which right now, dude, we're booked out so far that I'm turning most everything down, you know, just from the go. I usually like I spend a lot of time just going to look at everything and trying to see, you know, if I can put stuff on an extended schedule and see, you know, what customers are potentially worth working for. But dude, like right now it's, you know, I can barely juggle everything that I have going on, and it's starting to get to the stage where I can't even field all the phone calls. But in terms of like economics, like you know, a lot of the smarter people that I know, you know what I mean, like know it's all coming. You know what I mean? You know, like I've got
a lot of the people are saying like, "Oh, I'm busier than ever. There's no slowdown," and then some people are like, "I can't get jobs. Everything's dried up. Phone's not ringing anymore." It's so weird to see like those two polar opposites going on right now.
yeah. So like with me having done jujitsu for several years, like you come across a lot of people in different walks of life. So like I've got, you know, and one of the guys right now, like that's one of the jobs we're doing is we're doing an interior repaint. It's for a buddy of mine, and he's like an emergency room doctor, you know, and he's, you know, he's obviously on the conservative side and super good dude. And um, I think I think he's probably pro vaccination, so like maybe that's different because he's coming from like a doctor's perspective, but also too I'm not going to talk to him about the fact that, you know, he's probably told, you know, what to say and stuff like that, but he's very conservative, and we just had a brief, you know, 60-second talk the other day when I was calling him to update the job and stuff. And he, you know, it was kind of put out there that, you know, a recession is coming. And I was like, man, it really feels like a depression is coming. And he's like, man, I hope not, but it does feel that way. And then I've got another buddy that, he's a pharmacist, and he's super left wing. And I think he's, since all this shit's been going on, like we argue all the time. It's not argue, it's more like constructively debate each other and stuff. But we have like TikTok fights and stuff, and I'll send him crazy shit that I see on TikTok, and he'll send me crazy shit, and then we'll argue about it. But he's super liberal, and you know, he's just coming from the side that I don't know, like I get his perspective and stuff, but it's like those guys don't acknowledge what happened during the Obama era. You know what I mean? Because for one, they're in different fields. You know what I mean? Like somebody that's, you know, in the medical industry, you know, if the economy tanks, it's not really going to affect them. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
people are still going to die. People are still
Yep.
on Medicare and Medicaid, and like that industry still moves. So like they don't see it from our perspective, like that. Those were some hard
Yeah.
times from 2008 on up to what, like 2013 or so.
Yeah, probably 12 or 13.
Yeah. I mean, I stayed busy, dude, but like you had to be a go-getter, dude. You had to be willing to either be painting, putting macro epoxy on a fucking ditch pipe and in standing water, or you had to, you know, be willing to go paint a house or do a repaint. Like you had to be really versatile to not,
Yeah.
to be able to stay busy,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah. Usually we don't do like wood replacement. We won't do like baseboard installation. All that stuff's pretty simple, but when we don't have to, like, I don't want to have my guys even involved in it, the potential issues that can come with it. But during that period, it was like, yeah, you need your wood replaced too? Sure, no problem. We'll take care of it.
Yeah.
Baseboard, sure. Whatever you got
I
to do
mean,
to stay
our
busy.
industry needs a purge. It's oversaturated with inexperience,
Yeah.
and everybody,
Yeah.
and their brother's a painter, and what that does is it creates, the inexperience creates the type of mind share that, and the fact that it's easily accessible, that it's not
Hmm.
a specialized trade, it's not a skilled trade, and like anyone and everyone can
Yeah.
do it, and it devalues, pricing, it devalues mind share, the guys that are out there just, hey, I want to start a painting business, and then they're out there underbidding, or doing shitty work, and we're having to fix it or deal with a customer that's already paid for something that has to be completely redone, and it's just not good for the industry. So I'm hoping when shit tanks that it purges those things out, and the guys that are in this, for life, can figure it out, and maybe us get some of the mind share back, some of the work back, and then when things pick back up, the industry kind of level back out on an even playing field. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
fuck, like this one feels different though. You know what I mean? You start hearing shit like food shortages
Yeah.
and black rolling blackouts, and
Hmm.
you know what I mean? Like, oh, on one of our last episodes, I touched on uh, that school shooting, and I had some
Yeah.
wrong information. The guy is now claiming, the border patrol agent that went in to get his kids is now claiming that he did not uh, shoot the shooter. He did not kill the shooter. So
Yeah.
I think I should
Did
probably
they
not
say who
talk on
did?
stuff like that. There's so much misinformation out there that you know what I mean. Like it's so hard to
Yeah.
vest everything, but
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
thing is a fucking mess. Like there's so much weird shit going on that
Yeah.
doesn't make much sense with it. But the story keeps changing.
Yeah. So there's all kinds of talk about changing gun laws and stuff right now.
Yeah,
um, it's weird that there's not way more emphasis on making the schools safe. So apparently this person who did the shooting got in like through a back door that was open. I guess they had tried a couple doors that were locked and then one door was left open. Um, which it is weird. This school had like, you know, campus shooter protocols and all that.
yeah,
But somebody left the door open and all your protocols don't mean anything. It's crazy.
yeah. I'm not going to get into conspiracy theories, but I think there's all kinds of false
Yeah.
flag events going on right now. But that one doesn't add up to me.
Yeah. I think to a lot of people it doesn't. Um, yeah, and I don't know. It's weird how the police seem to be handling it and who's at fault for them not going in and all that stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah,
So I think during the last crash, um, some people were able to capitalize on it, at least on the tail end of it. Um, do you have any ideas on how? So for me, it was like I was going to hire as many people as I could, good people, basically snatch up all the good people from the companies who go out of business, and then come out pushing hard, spending money on marketing, and ramping up really quickly. The only problem with that was it took a while for things to kick in. It wasn't like
Yeah.
you couldn't predict a year, like, all right, so this year's shit, next year's going to be great. Let me hire 20 people in the winter time when things are slow and everyone else is crushed, and then come into the next year super strong. But then it's like, what if you go into the next year and it's a slow year again?
Well, I wasn't in business for myself during the last crash, but um,
Mm-hmm.
things started like throughout the election process, things started to feel weird. I was working for a commercial company, and technically, the housing market fell out, but um, I was making 28.50, and then um, I think I took a pay cut down to 24.62 with like insurance and benefits and all that stuff. Um, and things
Mm-hmm.
started to get weird right around the time that before Obama was going to get elected. Like the commercial was slowing down, and the guy that I was working for,
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at having to travel, and it was right at the stage to where I was going to be going union, and I was analyzing things, and I was like, dude, fuck this. I had a buddy of mine that had started a painting business, and he had like another dude he went into business with that was helping him fund it, and they
Mm-hmm.
had been harassing me for months to come to work for them and run their shit. And um I was watching like the commercial industry get weird before Obama was elected, and
Yeah.
I went ahead and pulled the trigger on going to work for these guys, and it was the right
Mm-hmm.
decision because all the commercial did fall out like right before the housing market crashed in this area. And
Yep.
um then we started watching, Obama got elected. We were bouncing between I took a huge pay cut to do that, by the way, from like I said, 28.50. I think I went down to fucking like 17 or 18. And then
Yeah. Jeez.
it was the right choice because all the commercial fell out. And then
Yeah.
I'm working for this dude. We're doing repaints, and we're doing like new custom homes. And then his business partner eventually, like, dude, something happened to where he ended up having his leg amputated, and then it was just me and
Oh,
him and then helpers, and we're like watching everyone crumble around us. Like all the painting companies are going out of business, and the general contractors are
yeah.
going out of business, and then we're still mushing on doing repaints, and we've got a couple new housing developments we're doing, and I stayed busy with that for a long time. I can't remember how many years it was. It was like 4 years or something. And then
Yeah.
the dude I was working for started to fall apart, dude, and I found myself fucking like going get like he was getting drunk and fucking not coming to work, and I thought for a long time this was like a whole year period where I thought that he was just on other jobs, and no,
Yeah.
dude, he was like at home drinking and just fucking everything off. And
Jeez.
we were doing a 10,000
Yeah.
square foot custom home, and he took out like a, I don't remember what it was, like a $18,000 draw right off the bat, and then a couple weeks later couldn't make payroll, and then fucking shit went downhill from there. I got
Yeah.
pissed off, and I quit, and I went into business for myself for 2 years, and I bounced around like doing small repaints for myself and then subbing from another contractor. And
Mm-hmm.
this was like as we're transitioning out of the recession and stuff, and it was tough, but I stayed busy. I got I kept the bills paid, and then winter hit one year, and I got nervous, dude. I didn't wait but 2 fucking weeks, and I
Yeah.
was like, "Fuck this! I'm gonna go to work for somebody." And that was the
Yeah.
last. We talked about that the last 4 years that I went to work for that contractor and like reorganized and restructured his company for like 4 years. And
Yeah.
um, then that's when shit started to pick back up, was the transition out of Obama into Trump. And then shit, was slowly starting to pick up. And then once Trump took office, like, everything started booming again. Um,
Yeah.
but like I said, I don't think that's all. Oh, hey, it's because of Trump or it's because of a Republican. But a lot of it was mind share. But if you look though, man, like like a record amount of executive orders fucking filed on like day one and day two that have all been destructive to the economy, to our energy
Yeah.
independence. Like, I don't think it's. I
Hmm.
think there's more to it than just Republican, Democrat. I think there's motherfuckers up in there that are trying to ruin stuff. They're
Yeah.
either trying to ruin stuff or they're so bad at their jobs that, you know what I mean? Like, it, it it's
Yeah.
become more. I've become more political in the last, you know, 4 or 5 years or so than I think I've ever been. I didn't care about that shit, but it makes a
Yeah.
difference, dude. It,
Well,
I
yeah. I
think
mean, at this point, yeah.
if you look at the whole Obama era, like, dude, cool, people got free healthcare and free cell phones and shit, but it killed the construction industry. And then what you want
Yeah.
to, and then Trump gets in there and he starts, stimulating the economy and, lowering taxes and doing multiple things that created, a lot of good things for this country that nobody will acknowledge because, you know what I mean? Because they hate him so bad because he's
Because
what
he's
sends mean
Trump.
tweets or whatever. But
Yeah.
look what we got now, dude. This
Yeah.
dude was, vice president. Like, it's not a fucking coincidence of how bad things were then, and then they got good,
Right.
and now they're fucking right before. This is like, I think, the first time in, in my existence that you can sit there and just watch it fucking fall apart right before your eyes, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Right
not a
now, that's
fucking
definitely going
coincidence.
on. Yeah. It's hard to say on coincidences for me because, like, the timing of the whole housing crash, I mean, that was kind of a long time coming. I think whoever would have been president at that time would have got stuck holding the bag. But
Well, but
with
if
Trump, I think he was looser.
you look at the housing market crash, that's pretty much attributes to the government, in my opinion. They're allowing the banks and all these crooked corporations to do this stuff, dude, and it eventually had major consequences. It's just like the way that,
But
you know,
that started in like 2001, 2002.
yeah,
That start like the all the bad lending options.
yeah, but the government didn't regulate that shit, and then all this stuff tanks, and when shit goes bad,
Yeah.
these crooked corporations that they lobby to, they fucking bail them out and stuff, dude.
Yeah. I just watched another documentary recently. Um, I forget what it's called, but it was about the 2008 housing crash.
Yeah,
And it's crazy. Like when you look back at the
yeah,
facts of the matter
yeah.
and
And those
how
guys
so
didn't
many
even
people
go to
knew
jail,
that
dude.
like this shit is really unstable.
Did
Yeah.
one person even go
Almost
to
nobody
jail?
did. I
You know
think
what I
a
mean?
couple people did. Man, I want to say a couple people did, but there's like hundreds or thousands of people that were privy to what was going on, you know?
Yeah.
It's kind of
It's just
crazy.
like the pharmaceutical companies, dude. You look at all the people they've killed, like millions
Yeah.
of people. Those guys don't go to jail. You know what I mean?
No.
They get
Yeah.
fined and shit. Oh, hey, here's a slap on the wrist. Like a
Right.
multi-billion-dollar corporation gets a several million-dollar fine. They don't give a shit.
It's not, they just stop making that product. They pay the fine and then they move on to their next one.
Yeah.
It's the American way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think do you have any plans on growing or adding employees or anything this year? Are you going to put it on hold? Are you what's your
I
thought
think
on
I wanted to. Like, I've got this new guy, and I'm not gonna, jump in and talk about that, but
yeah,
I don't know if I want to do that. I think I might want to just keep it me and Jeremiah and
yeah,
transition into winter that way, dude, and then see how things
yeah.
are. You know what I mean?
It's probably
Um,
wise.
Yeah, because the one thing that I've never done is I've never missed a payroll. You know what I mean? Everyone's always gotten paid on Friday, and no matter what.
Yeah.
But this new guy, like, you know, I'm not going to get into it. He comes with strings attached and stuff, but he's
Yeah. Yeah.
working out just fine. You know, he's put little things out there like, you know, you can get a job doing this and that, you know, like working it in the fucking restaurant for more, blah blah blah. And I'm sitting there thinking like, dude,
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? Like you've missed this day and that day,
Yeah.
and
Mm,
I'm thinking he dropped a number, and I gave him $1 more than the number he dropped. Like, I don't want to listen to no shit about fucking money. You know what I mean?
yep. Yeah.
But you know, you can, like I said, he's a worker though. You know what I mean? Like it seems like he'd
Yeah.
be trainable and stuff like that. I just don't know if his personal stuff is going to work out.
Yeah. Yeah. Some people that really affects them on the day to day. Some people it doesn't, but that becomes an issue. Yeah. I don't, for us, I'm not against hiring more people, but I'm not planning on trying to do any growth for the rest of this year. I think we're just going to stay steady. I'm working on trying to
So
save
the
whatever I can.
open up opening up shop in LA is not going to happen.
Not this year.
Yeah,
Nope.
you're going to put all that on
Next.
hold.
Well, I don't even know if it's next year. We'll see. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, everything's going to go on hold this year, and we'll see. Because I don't. um, I don't see a way where things don't significantly drop off. Um,
Yeah.
like I said, I think here is not going to get hit too bad. I think we'll probably have a slowdown, but I don't think our real estate prices are going to come down much here. Um, I mean, everything's priced pretty fucking high right now. So it would be nice if it comes down, but everything's still selling like crazy here. Like nothing is slowing down, or seemingly nothing is seemingly slowing down. A house just came up for sale in my neighborhood, and so had two offers the first weekend it was up. You know, it's like a fucking $3 million house. Um, and it's like that's still going on everywhere right now. Like places are selling so fast, and I don't know. It seems like everything is too high priced. So this house 2 years ago would have sold for 2 million. So it gained $1 million in value in 2 years, which is fucking insane. Um, but as long as people will pay it, they're going to keep selling at that price, you know. Um, and I think in those price ranges, those people are probably not so tied to interest rates, right? So yesterday, the Fed announced a 75 basis point increase. So that's a 0.75% added on to your mortgage. You know, if you got a new mortgage today, it's 0.75% higher than it was 2 days ago. Um, you know, which I think are they at 6% now?
I think,
I
you
don't
know,
remember where it's
I
at.
think they're going to, you know, you're hearing they're going to raise interest rates, and then I think they're going to raise taxes, you know what I mean? And then shit's going to continue to inflate because of all these fucking just ridiculous policies, and it's going to have to tank.
Yeah.
And then what, you know, probably like and then we'll start dropping bombs on Russia or something, or something stupid will fucking happen, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. So right now, interest rates looks like national average is 5.54% for a 30-year fixed mortgage. Um, we bought this house in Big Bear. I think 2.6% is our rate, something like that. Um, so I mean that like essentially doubles your payment, which is fucking crazy. If we had bought that house like 1 year later, we'd have a twice as high mortgage payment on it. Um, so I think you know in the 600 to maybe 1 million range, those people get affected because they're really relying on that lower interest rate for the better monthly payment. I think if you're looking at a $3 million house, Well, I don't know. I There's a lot of cash buyers out here. I think the guy who bought this place is a baseball player. Um, so I think in the upper, several $1 million range, those people are not getting scared off by a mortgage rate, because a lot of them probably aren't having mortgages, or if they are, it's a small one. But I think people like me, who's going to look at an $800,000 house and my payment's going to be doubled, um, I'm not buying anymore. That would scare me off.
Dude, I got so fucked. Like I went through a divorce and then yada yada. Like pretty much gave up, everything to reset, and then you know several years down the road remarry, fucking fire this business off and bust my ass for like 3 years to get it up and off the ground like quick, and accumulate a shit ton of equipment quick, and just be ready to go for commercial or residential or repaints or whatever, and just ready to pull the trigger on big shit. Um, and then this fucking the housing market starts spiking, and you know what I mean, like, and then I'm looking at like
Yeah.
owing taxes and all this shit, and dude, the like my housing market is like almost doubled, and now I'm looking
Yeah.
at like, fuck, I don't even think I should buy a home now. You know what I mean? And if they raise interest rates, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because I was wanting to get into something under 200,000, which would have been fucking now like a fucking over $300,000 fucking house. You know what I mean?
Right. Yep. Yeah. So over $300,000 now, and then interest rate is twice as high now. Compared to like 4 months ago, it's twice as high now. Um, yeah, but so that's the thing, right? That's why I think like the Midwest or Middle America is going to get crushed, because the values went super high because everybody's moving there. They're all bringing their cash there. Anybody that lives there is refinancing, so they have cash, money in the bank. Um, Everyone is like fake rich for the last year.
Yeah.
Like there are some companies who really got rich in the last year, but everyone else is fake money. They just refinanced the house, or they sold their house and moved to a cheaper place. Um, and it's like temporary wealth. And so now everybody's spending like crazy for the last year or two, which makes all of us business owners seem like, oh, great. We're excellent business owners. We doubled our business last year or whatever. Um, but I think that's all going to come crashing down. And then I think the guys who don't really have like a good repeat or referral base, or some kind of niche or something special about them, they're all just going to go by the wayside.
Yeah. All these
They're going to
people
run out because
coming
it's
here
not
from
like shooting fish in a barrel anymore. Yeah.
all these people coming here from other places have really fucked our local economies. You know what I mean? Like this shit is
Yeah.
happening all over the country, but
All over.
like I live in a place where it's the cheapest gas prices, the cheapest rent, but also like the cheapest pay rates and stuff. So shit's to the point now to
Mm-hmm.
where uh like the real estate market is jacked up super high. I'm looking
Yeah.
at having to start people without experience at very similar wages to what you fucking start out at. You know what I'm saying? Which is totally not
Yeah.
reasonable, from a business perspective on
Yep.
my end. And then you don't get to just magically charge more. You have to get that shit figured out. So we were talking about prices the other day, and I was telling you like production, dude. I know of guys doing like commercial, like light production, like apartments and shit, like light commercial, like under $2 a square foot, dude. Like between $1.75 and $1.90, maybe upwards of 220, and then like that would transfer to spec homes, and then you have custom
Yep.
homes. Guys are doing uh, between $3 and $4 depending upon the company, And I'm sitting here like,
Yeah.
we were talking about it. I'm like, dude, I get more money for doing a fucking repaint, and I don't have to buy thousands of gallons of primer. And,
Yeah.
my repaint prices are, they might be higher than your repaint prices, or a little under or whatever, but your new construction prices are quite a bit more than your repaints. You know what I mean? And it's the exact opposite for me because
Yeah.
I can't extract money from all the shitty general contractors in this area because they just look at the
Yeah.
fucking number. They don't care, dude. Build a, $500,000 house and just fucking destroy it with paint is their plan.
Yeah. It is interesting. The differences in like residential here versus residential there, and then the comparison to new construction. Because there's
Yeah.
a big difference here for new construction versus residential repaint, and for
Yeah,
you,
dude, you're
it's pretty close, right?
you're like you could if you wanted to, cool, I will encapsulate carpets and stuff, with the adhesive film plastic, that Tramico stuff or whatever, and
Yep.
bag everything
How do you
off and
pronounce
shoot.
that? Is it
Trimaco, I think.
Trimaco? I know.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Is it
Trimaco or
Trimaco?
Trimico.
Trimaco?
Yeah, I'm not sure, but
Yeah,
or
me neither.
we'll use a product that lays down well, if it's previously sprayed, and sometimes we'll brush a trim package. But there's a huge difference between brushing a trim package, and repainting some walls that have already been primed and painted. Like, your material cost is super low. How the fuck can I get
Yeah.
more money on something like that than having a $6,000 or $7,000 paint bill on a new house? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't make any fucking sense, dude.
Yeah, that is weird because that's why our prices are higher on new construction. Well,
Yeah,
usually
because
we're
it
doing
costs
an
more.
extra coat on everything. Yeah. And then, yeah, our expense on primer, paint, everything is quite a bit more.
Yeah,
That's weird. Uh,
but I
so
get
for
I get
commercial
more
here,
to do
it's like
less,
that.
so fuck it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. All right. So I just punched in a little mortgage calculator here. So on a $300,000 loan, like 4 months ago, payment would be $1,548 a month. Right now, if you get that same mortgage, $2,038 a month. So it's $500
Damn.
more per month right now because of interest rates compared to like 4 months ago.
So, and that shit
Fucking
just went
crazy.
up. Is
So
that nationwide?
yeah, so it just went up 75 basis points yesterday. So that's a 0.75%. So like from 4 point whatever, 4.35 to 5.1. And the next month they're going to do it again. So
What?
the whole point of them, most likely. So the whole point of them raising the interest rates is to cause unemployment because that will lower demand and that will get us out of inflation. That's the goal. That's like, economics 101. So the Fed wants there to be unemployment so that demand slows down. And then that'll stabilize the cost of everything. Like manufacturers are going to have to reduce their prices. Um, so basically, like, the middle and lower class is going to get fucked. Because if
Yeah.
demand slows down right now, then like businesses are screwed. So I want to talk a little bit about all the layoffs going on right now. So all of the big companies, it's starting with tech businesses right now. They're all cutting like 10, 15, 20% of their staff, just because everything's slowing down. They have a grim outlook on the future. Um, One of the things that really screwed up everything, like stock wise, is uh, so like stock valuation, company valuation, stock value, it all goes up or down based on futures, based on what you think this company is going to do in the next quarter or the next 4 quarters or whatever. So like in 2021, everything crashed pretty quickly, or 2020, everything crashed pretty quickly because it's like, all right, businesses are shut, nobody's doing anything, you know. Um, and then it was like second or third quarter, everybody's stock was going up, even though all the businesses were closed. You know, it's like the Hilton, uh, um, I don't know, all these big hotels, Marriott, all these chains, all their stocks were going up in value, even though nobody was doing any business. You know, like it was lockdown. You couldn't go stay at a hotel. Like it was nuts. But all these companies are going up in value. Their stocks are all rising. Um, it was a fake rise because there was so much extra money in the economy from the government giving it out that people were just investing in these companies because, you know, the Hilton's a pretty sure bet, pretty safe place to store your money. Um, so they all like kept their value or stayed up in value. And then once things started happening, once we started doing business again, um, everything started booming. You know, it's like, okay, everyone's spending money again. Now everyone has like crazy spending, and the Hilton's doing like record numbers. The Marriott's doing record numbers. Alpha Painting is doing record numbers. JQ Paint's doing record numbers. So now the quarterly earnings reports come out, and it's like, oh, we're 20% above where we thought we'd be. You know, we're going to keep riding this train. So next quarter comes out, you know, all the way through 2021. It's like better, better, better. Well, first quarter of 2022 comes out and like everyone's fucking dropped off a cliff. You know, all these companies, like now that money's tightening up a little bit, uh, now they're like, all right, we had a bad quarter and we think next quarter is going to be worse. You know, so now everyone's like pulling all their money out, selling their stock, you know, whatever. And so, and these companies are all like losing significant value. You know, I mean, like some of these companies are like 70%, 80% down in value compared to a year ago, which is like insane. You know, if you're $100 million company or $100 billion company, now you're worth 20 billion or 20 million.
Yeah.
Um, and their futures are not looking good either. You know, they're like, this is going to be a while. So, like, our next quarter earnings are going to be lower than we expect. The quarter after that's going to be lower than we expect. And this is like across the board. You know, like Ford is going to have lower sales, GM. None of these companies have started doing layoffs yet, but it's like really expected that they're all going to.
Yep.
Um,
And then a
Target is
year
doing all
down the
these
road,
crazy
the
sales.
government's going to give out our tax dollars to bail these companies out. You know what I mean? Increase our
Yeah.
taxes.
Yeah.
That way, all these poor ass white trash motherfuckers like me can just fall apart all the way.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's like, you know, the layoffs are already started. Right now, it's in the tech side of things, and I think it's just a matter of time before it carries over into like mainstream companies. Um, but it's weird. I don't. There's some people that are like 100% this is going to happen, and then some people that are like, I don't know, business is good right now. You know, I don't know if they're not thinking about it or not worried about it or think it's not going to happen. I don't know. It's crazy.
I'm scared to fill up my boat right now.
Yeah. Well, I'm supposed to pick up this boat, I think tomorrow or Saturday or something. Um, yeah, that's crazy right now. All right. So, other bad news I've got. I don't know what water conditions are like for you. I guess it's totally different than me, but we're going through like a serious drought over here. We've got Lake Mead and Lake Powell are the biggest reservoirs here. I think they're the biggest in the country, actually. Um, but they're pretty important for our water in California. And one of them is at like 27% of capacity and one's at 28%. I don't remember which is which. Um,
Dang.
so they're 75% lower than what the capacity is. Um, and that's another thing. Like there's signs and stuff in LA and there's restrictions on water usage, but it hasn't hit here yet. I'm in Orange County and it's odd that it hasn't, but there's like all kinds of news about how low it all is and how our snowpack for the year, like through Colorado, um, is like 60% of what it should be. So we're going to get even less water once that melts off. It's insane. Did I tell you they were finding bodies in like Lake Mead or Lake Powell
Yeah.
because the water level's dropping so low?
That's the thing with this area, dude, that I live in. Like, um, you know, it fucking rains and it thunderstorms and it floods. And like when we get a bunch of rain and the dams have to start letting out water, it floods the lower counties and shit. And like, here,
Hmm.
I'm going to
Yeah.
show you, like the lake that we live on, dude. You would
Hmm.
have to see it, but like, I don't, yeah. Like it just winds through everything, you know what I mean? Like there's
Yeah. Yeah.
water
Yeah. Yeah.
everywhere. I don't see,
Yep.
in terms of drought, like I don't know if it's physically possible for us to have drought in this area because it's so humid.
Yeah.
It's always gonna rain and shit, you know?
Right. Yeah. 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 I think we're going to turn into a desert here, like straight up desert. Um, it's, I mean, so Big Bear, that's where we got a house at. That lake is like halfway full, probably, maybe, yeah, probably halfway. So there's parts of the lake that are completely dry now. It's just like grass growing in it now, and there's like little bridges where
Oh
the water used to
damn.
be.
Yeah.
It's like half size, and so there's certain areas where the water level's too low. You can't take your boat over there. Um, but it's like very noticeable and obvious around here at any of the lakes how low the water level is. It's pretty wild.
Dude, I remember being in what was it fucking I was in Ventura and like when I was a kid and it was during the drought and like you know how they would only uh like they had rules to where you could only run so much water and
Yeah.
these were like cousins and stuff that we were going to visit and fucking you know you could only take a shower for 5 minutes or whatever but I was I
Yeah.
was walking through an alley and I picked up like a glass bottle and went to throw it and it
Yeah.
must have been like somebody like a bum pissing in it or something got all over me and it
Yeah.
stunk so
Oh,
bad
shit.
I was puking I was throwing up all over myself so I had this shit all over me and I'm puking and I fucking go back to their house to try and shower and they're like you can only shower for 5 minutes.
Oh man. Yeah, it must have been a couple years ago, but we had signs or notices that you could only water your grass like 2 days a week or something like that. No
Yeah,
washing your car in the driveway, all that kind of stuff. It's pretty
yeah.
interesting. Um, so today is the first time I paid over $7 for a gallon of gas.
Fuck.
I got kind of stuck in an area that I don't usually work in, but I paid $7.49 for a gallon of diesel. 7.49.
Is
Fucking
your truck
crazy.
diesel?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't realize
Yeah. So I put $50 in and I got 6.6 gallons.
that.
It's
Fuck,
terrible.
dude. I'm to the point now to where you know,
uh,
like I said, I live in an area that has the cheapest gas, but I'm to the point now to where the pumps shut off at $100. You know, so I'm
yeah.
not getting all the
Yeah.
way full before the pump shuts down.
That's what feels even worse for me now is yeah, we talked about this. My card will cut off at $100. It's probably like a fraud thing. Um,
Yeah,
so it only let me put in $100 worth of gas, and that only lasts me like 2 or maybe 3 days at the most. So if I could fill up, for like $180 or $200 or something like that, but at least get me through the week, I wouldn't feel so bad. It would still be the same amount of money, obviously. But right
yeah.
now I'm dropping $100 like every 2 or 3 days. And it's like, fuck, back again, for another hundred
Yeah.
bucks. So it feels like it's not lasting me at all.
That I mean, that's honestly what I personally have to do because I live in a rural area and like all of our jobs are spread out. So like a lot of
Yeah.
these jobs, the lake just goes for miles and
Mm,
miles and is like a snake and has hundreds of branches that branch off of it, and all these houses are built in all those coves and all this
yeah.
stuff. So like, you know, uh like everything is spread out. So I drive at the very least, like my minimum is 2 hours a day. So
Oh
yeah,
shit.
I'm $100 every 2 to 3 days. $100 every 3 days. If I end up having to pull my trailer and I'm on multiple jobs, like dude, I might have to fill up every other day.
Are you doing like freeway driving, or is that like regular streets around the lake?
No, they're like rural, like country roads that are up and down hills and around corners,
Yeah.
and yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
and
It's not like
and
the
even
405 freeway here.
yeah, and even the highway here, dude, is like you have a fucking hill that's like 2 miles long that you got to climb up. So
Yeah. Is that a popular lake in the summertime? Is it busy out there?
yeah, yeah, it's super busy.
Yeah.
Well, like I don't like fucking around in
All
the
right.
main channel because there's so much traffic. We'll go like off in like different parts of town and stuff and go back in coves and shit.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know when. I'm really anxious to get the crash kind of started or something. I don't know. The anticipation is bothering me. Waiting for this shit to go sideways. I guess it's
Yeah.
good. I mean, if it can stay out as long as possible. I'm just pretty curious to see or to know how bad it's going to get. Um, yeah, I don't know. But for the day to day right now, like we're treating it business as usual. We're not dropping our prices yet. So our sales are still good, but last week was the first week where we had lower phone calls. Last week and this week, lower than usual phone calls. Um, so we had talked, I think maybe the 2 or 3 weeks prior to that. We had slower contracts being signed. So still plenty of phone calls, plenty of estimates, but not very many signers, which was odd for that time of year. For us, the two areas where we get the one area where we get a slowdown is in July when summer vacations start, and then the area where we get a really huge pickup is mid-April when taxes are done. So those two are like year over year, extremely reliable on the data, like the amount of phone calls, the amount of signed contracts. So this year, April was not a big month. Um, Estimates still the norm, but fewer signed contracts. But then we had a period, 2 or 3 weeks ago where we had a whole bunch of signed contracts. It was like a ton of them came in. Now, last week and this week, our phone calls have been lower than usual for this time of year. We're talking like, um, 4 or 5 fewer estimate appointments, which doesn't seem like a lot, but if you have like 15 to 20 in a week, that's 25-30% of your estimates. So
Yeah.
typically, like if you're scaling a company, that 25 to 30% fewer estimates, you're going to feel that like in a month, you know, in a month when
Yeah.
that week's worth of jobs or estimates are supposed to come through, and now it's 25 to 30% less. Um,
I feel like the mass exodus is done. Like people leaving the cities, that we're going to leave the cities. Like that is what created a lot of phone generated a lot of phone calls in my area, was people moving from the cities, selling their houses and moving to
yeah.
a rural area. Hey, I need a paint job. I just
Hmm.
bought a condo. Hey, I just bought a house. I need a paint job. Like that shit was
Right.
insane. Like uh
Yeah.
like what was it, like half of last year and like a couple months into this year.
Yep.
So that has tapered
Hmm.
off. I've noticed that taper off, but I am still, I would say my phone calls are still decent. I don't see them as having dropped much more than 20% or so. Um,
Yeah.
but like very slowly over this year. It's been very, the phone calls have slowly just started, becoming less. And my
Yeah.
sell rate has been a lot less because I've, been increasing prices, and I have
Yeah.
bid a shit ton of stuff. I've bid way more than I've got, you know what I mean? So my close rate is probably,
Hmm.
it's over this year has been really small, but the jobs that I have got have been good. So
Yeah, that's a something important to keep in mind is as you raise your prices, like you're going to find out some area where people won't pay that, or really many fewer people will pay that, so
yeah.
there is, that's an interesting data point for you is you're probably finding a point right now where, all right, I'm maxed out. Like, no one's going to pay these prices anymore. Um,
Yeah.
but that's like an important thing to get to.
But you got to understand too, the people paying those prices aren't the people that are like moving here, you know what I mean? All those
Yeah.
phone calls that I
Yeah.
got for those jobs were not the jobs that I was selling. They were, like
Mm.
permanent residents that were, wanting a paint job, or um, there was very few that I sold that were because somebody had, moved here from somewhere else. It was always people that have been here for a while. So um, I didn't I didn't capitalize on those phone calls. I just got a shit ton of them. So yeah, I don't know what I. Yeah. Um. Yeah. Fuck. I don't know, dude. I I am. If the I don't know what to like. I don't know. I'm surprised that new construction didn't crash a year ago. You know what I mean? Like that. I don't see how they're still building with all these prices this high. It doesn't make any sense to me. So, um, I tell myself like if if shit tanks and then we've got to lower prices, uh, you know, people stop spending money, the calls for repaints are going to slow down or potentially stop, then what else can you do? Just go do some production. Like I'm set up and ready to go anytime for that. But if that happens, like, you know, is the new construction market not going to fall out? You know what I mean? My old lady just got back from Hawaii, and she's telling me a story about she was there for a baby shower and to hang out with her friend, and they were at the beach. I'm not sure where they were at, but her friend needed to use the bathroom, and she went to the
Ooh.
bathroom, and my old lady was waiting outside the bathrooms, and she said she thought she heard like a chick in there having sex, and then her friend comes out and she's like, "Hey, can you come in here with me?" And my old lady was expecting to go into the bathrooms and like there was people fucking in there or something, and she went in there and it was just like some crazy chick with her hair all sideways and a cigarette hanging out of her mouth just making those noises by herself.
Oh,
And
I know her. Yeah. Everybody knows her, man.
do you really?
Yeah,
So
that's nothing unusual here because there is a huge homeless population or houseless
yeah.
population and a lot of mentally ill
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw my music video I made for
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Waikiki last. Yeah, that's drunks, demented, and drums. It was, yeah,
She
it's
said
normal. It's great.
she
Great
said it's
people
Do you
watching.
guys?
gotten bad since the 90s or whatever. She doesn't remember it being like that, you know. But
Yeah, they had secluded areas in the 90s, and in the late 80s is when meth arrived on the island before it hit the rest of the United States. So, yeah, it's gotten pretty bad.
you
But
think though that it's like the fentanyl pretty much that they're putting in meth and heroin and shit like that that's making people fucking crazy?
yeah, I would imagine. And then there's a lot of just genuinely crazy people out there, and they're a lot of them are harmless, man. And it's yeah, it's
Do you guys have like
part of
encampments out there and like big
yeah,
lots set up? Yeah, LA's
oh
like that
yeah.
right now.
Yeah, they just cleared underneath the bridge, and they try and keep them out of Waikiki because of the tourism.
Yeah.
So they're all, it's kind of funny because when you're driving around the island and you see this huge tent city on the beach, and then you see Obama's new complex, like within a quarter mile from his
Yeah.
house, and it's kind of
Ironic.
kind of irony,
Yeah.
Yeah.
sad. Yeah,
I
because
mean,
it's
that's got to
his
be like
new.
the best place in the world to be homeless, right?
Sure. Yeah. All you need is
Yeah.
a hoodie for at night. Yeah.
Yeah. Every now and then it rains, an umbrella and a hoodie and some
Just
flip
Yeah.
flops.
go pick
But
fruit off of trees and stuff.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of the homeless population is the indigenous populace that
Hmm.
can't afford to live in their houses anymore.
Yeah.
They couldn't conform to capitalism, or capitalism kicked their ass. So rents went up, property values went up. So that's a constant here, and people just can't afford to live, even though they're from here. So they're considered
That's
houseless,
pretty
not
shitty.
homeless. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty shitty. That, like, when you put it that way. Um,
yeah,
yeah. Cause if you're not like, constantly making more money at whatever job you have, whatever you do for a living, then yeah, ultimately you just get priced out of it, right? And then it's like all of a sudden, 3, 4, 5 years later, you can't afford anything in the place that you grew up at. That's
no,
crazy.
I know a lot of the property values shoot up, and a lot of people have homestead houses, so they have, it's not unusual to see four generations, three generations living in the same,
Yeah,
compound house, and it's just kind of normal. Like when people go, oh, you got to leave the nest at 18. I mean, you can't really do that if you can't afford it here, and it's a little more feasible for them to just stay in the home with the family,
yeah.
you know, forever, because it's difficult to find a place for sure.
That's crazy because there isn't anywhere like that here. Because basically, if I couldn't afford to live in Huntington Beach anymore, I would go to like Santa Ana. If I couldn't afford Santa
Sure.
Ana, I would go to Riverside. If I couldn't afford Riverside, I would go to whatever's next inland until I made my way all the way to wherever, Texas.
Well,
Just keep
a lot
moving
of
further
people
and further
leave.
away.
They leave here. A lot of people leave here and go to the mainland, and um, and eventually come back, at some point and take over their families' houses or whatever here. But
Yeah,
Yeah, my dad,
yeah,
after
it's
living like 40 years on the coast, whether it be like Ventura or Huntington or, somewhere in Orange County, he finally moved to the desert.
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I did the opposite. I moved here because I grew up here, and like I knew I could make my way if I came back and possibly make a go at it. And so far so good. Yeah. Um,
yeah.
yeah, it's a you force capitalism on people. They were just over 100 years ago. They were tribal, indigenous, warring people, a kingdom amongst themselves that were kind of overthrown by capitalism and stolen in a sense. Um,
Yeah.
and it was
Yeah.
forced on them. So
Yeah. Well, I
yeah,
mean,
it's a
without
it.
like getting into like what our country obviously did in terms of colonization and stuff, but isn't there a lot of like Chinese conglomerates that own land in Hawaii, you know, like
Yeah,
Chinese corporations and shit.
yeah, and they put a halt to that. It was a lot of different foreign investors. It wasn't just strictly Chinese, because like in the 80s it was the Japanese coming over and buying up everything, uh and then they imported Micronesians because we tested nukes. So the Micronesians got a free pass to the United States because the radiation sickness that so they all basically
Hmm.
came here because of the island lifestyle. And so yeah, and a lot of the local people, like, I mean, they don't like me here. Not all of them, some of them do, but it's you have to really respect the culture and understand it to get along here. If you come over and you're just a, a shithead, man, they're gonna beat the shit out of you and roll you out. Like even the same thing with construction. Like, because I am a white person and I'm on a job site with a bunch of local people, like the builders, employees and stuff, they don't want me there because their friend has a painting company who's, you know, indigenous, so they're going to do whatever they
Hmm.
can to push you off. And the union here there's very few outsiders in the union because they utilize,
Yeah.
with more power to them. I totally have mad respect the fact that they utilize the laws of the United States to benefit them here to be able to survive here. And
Yeah.
understanding all that, like when people just want to come over here and move here, it's like, no, you need to think about it and understand it first and know what you're getting into. Yeah. I was forced it when I was in middle school. I was forced to move here, so I got thrown into it pretty heavy pretty quick. So,
That must have been rough being a white kid going to school there, huh? Middle school,
especially
high
with a
school.
southern accent, coming in and not understanding the culture at all. And I got,
Yeah.
yeah, I got a quick understanding of getting circled and punched and going, what's going on? And
Dang. So you came in around the fucking the North Shore movie days then, huh?
before then, I
Yeah.
came in during like the whole the gangsta,
Yeah.
like
The,
Easy E and all that, like the gangs were really big. So there were a lot of Hawaiian Filipino gangs and emulating, the culture over there.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, it was pretty nuts. You'd see huge fights all the time, and maybe, yeah, being a little southern white boy with a southern accent, but I was in martial arts and stuff, and I just stopped taking hits and started hitting back, and then realized, like, all right, you kind of have to do that here. They're a warring people, a warrior culture,
Yeah.
and they're
Yeah.
not about stabbing you. That they want to duke it out, and it's still the same, but not as bad.
Dude, my old lady
Hmm.
brought home some board shorts that said the Hui on them, and fucking I always thought that it was a Hawaiian gang or whatever, but do they make board shorts now? Like, what's the deal with that?
Yeah, yeah, they've been making board shorts for a long time.
Yeah.
I didn't know what the Hui was until I saw North Shore, and then I forgot about it. Like,
Yeah.
it's not
It's not a real
essentially
thing
a
or
thing. Neither is Chandler Surfboards from the movie. That's my last name.
yeah.
I don't, I don't get any money from that. But I mean, that movie was, even a lot of movies that are made about Hawaii. If you really want to watch some movies about the culture, there's actually a movie called Howley. You can find it on Netflix and Amazon. That's kind of my story on how I ended up here, but I didn't get murdered. Like, oh, I just gave away the end of the movie, but it's pretty good.
Ah, fuck.
There's a lot of like historical ones, like Princess Kaolani. That's a great movie to understand what the culture's like here in Hawaii. Yeah, and yeah, it's different. It's like being in the closest you can be to a third world country without being out of the United States, besides Puerto Rico. That makes sense.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So the work ethic
So what are
is
things like
sporadic.
these days out there? Yeah.
The work ethic is sporadic. Like you find some people that really do want to work, but then there's the people that they just want their 40 hours because they're told to by capitalism, and they're going to use every benefit that is required by law to get these things, and some of people will be a total shitheel to you just because they can.
Yeah.
Um, but you find some good people. It's not everybody. I don't want to completely stereotype an entire,
Yeah.
you know, culture. It's a small percentage, I would say, that uh, really don't like you or me or anybody at all, and that's probably within their own individual self. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, no, it's really nice here. Like most people are genuinely nice. So,
Yeah.
as with anywhere. So,
Are you guys feeling anything as far as the economy goes right now? Has anything started hitting there? Gas prices?
oh yeah, gas prices. It's like a paint gallon. I don't really pay attention to it, how much my paint costs, because I need gas, so I just get it. But I do drive a Porsche, and I have to get the higher end, and I'm like, ugh. It tops
What's
out
it
at a
at right
hundred
now?
bucks, five something.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we are just
Yeah.
talking about
So
the $100 cutoff and how it's not lasting as many days anymore.
no, and then I go, oh, it's almost full. Click. So yeah, I do the hundred buck, and then the work trucks too. They're 5 cylinders, so I've actually had my guys just take one truck instead of two.
Yeah.
You know, organize a little better and adapt. But I don't know. I gave a bid yesterday to somebody to paint a room, patch some walls, match the texture, change out a light fixture in one of the most ridiculously high-end neighborhoods in the United States. And it's one of their rentals. And I know how much those places rent for. So I
Yeah.
was like, one day job, 1,200 bucks. And they were just like, I just don't see that. I don't see the justification. And I was like, cool. Have a nice day.
Yeah.
You could probably find somebody super desperate that will do that, haul that for $300
Yeah.
because they'll say yes to anything because they're not as
Right.
established as and I had to explain, well we have a certain rate we have to charge per day, blah blah blah. Which I did
Hmm.
pad it a little bit
Yeah.
because of the neighborhood, and I was like, fuck, I don't give a fuck if
Yeah.
I paint your house or not.
Yeah.
So, do we have any other like major topics that you want to hit on before I get out of here, John? Because I'm gonna have to jump out here in a couple minutes.
No, I think those were the main ones. We were just talking about Sam. Like my gas prices here are like high sixes, low sevens right now.
Oh
Um,
well.
lots of big companies are laying people off right now. So I think the crash is coming, but it's taking a little while to hit everyone. I don't know when it's going to hit.
I've survived many a crash, so
Yeah.
we'll see how bad it gets.
I'm gonna let you guys square this one up, and I'm gonna jump out of here.
Yep.
All right, man.
All right.
Right
Hey,
on.
do I just
All
hit the
right, man.
red? Do I hit the red button, leave, and it will?
Yep.
Okay.
And then just leave this. Don't end this.
Okay. All right, guys. I'll see you later.
All
See
right,
ya.
man. Aloha and shit.
Yeah. Later.
Sam, you want to go like another 15 minutes or so?
Sure, man.
Okay.
How you been?
Pretty good. It's hot
Yeah,
here right now. What's so lately out here, we've been getting a little humidity too, which is kind of weird
yeah.
for here. Um,
We've we've got that right now as well, but not super hot like you guys. Like
yeah. Yeah, right now
seven
it's not too
seventy
bad.
eight.
Yeah, that's how it is here right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not too bad. How's business been?
So same. It's just we bid jobs when we're busy and bid them high, and when we take a week or two off until one pops, and
Yeah.
keep cycling that way. And the new guy is working out pretty good so far.
Hmm.
He actually grabbed a gun, started spraying and back rolling today.
Yeah.
He's just trying to figure out our system, and uh, yeah, it's kind of nice having somebody that has a little bit of experience, but not a ridiculous amount, where they're trying to
Yeah.
reinvent my wheel.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to try out a new tool prototype today. I'm excited about it.
I saw that. That was with the light on the sanding pole.
Yeah. It's got it for the round sander and the square
Yeah.
sander. It's rubber with an LED strip and
Yeah.
fully like plug it in. Oh my God, like
That thing looked
it was,
cool.
yeah. And the benefit on the square one, because people that don't know how to use a square sander and it flips
Yeah.
and you get a
Yeah.
hole,
Yeah.
it's rubberized now, so like it won't do
Keep it
anything.
in
But yeah, we
place.
got, yeah, or it won't make a hole in the wall when you flip it.
Yeah. When you nail it.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah. When you flip over and hit the screw. Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, it was pretty cool. But then again, it's like one of those things. Like you have your standard tools, and that would be cool. Like if it's constantly on your tool, so you can just grab it. But it's
Yeah.
another thing that you have to charge and so on, and
Right.
keep batteries for, which you can use it with any type of battery, like pack, like as long as it
Yeah.
runs a USB, which is kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
But like I've been, you don't have to carry a light around, but some people just don't give a shit and don't carry a light around anyway.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's
y-
hard to say because it's you know, I think probably for you, you can get by because you can almost do sanding by feel, right? At some point,
yeah,
you can feel like if you're catching on something, you can feel if you're not catching on anything. But, if you're like, I don't know, only a few years in or something, and you want that person to get the sanding really dialed in, make sure these walls are really smooth, that's a pretty nice feature to have a light on that because that really
yeah,
does show off everything. It's like even if you're doing patchwork and you get a side light in there, one of those little iQuip lights at an angle, you
yep,
see everything, you know?
yeah, yeah. I know. It
Yeah, it's a
really
cool
pointed
feature.
out any little boogers on the wall, and like I was like, this is actually really cool. And I don't get excited about
Yeah.
tools too much, because there's
Yeah.
so many inventions coming out. But he's
Yeah.
got the patent for everything, and we got to use the prototypes today. And he does a lot of drywall. He's a drywall guy, so I can see the
Yeah.
potential for that. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, you can check out my video on Instagram at the right painter, and
Yeah.
take a look at it. It says tool prototype, and I just finished my daily video, and I'm gonna post it as well. But he's gonna start manufacturing them, and yeah, I'm excited for him because he's the only drywall guy on the island that I like.
Yeah. It's a really like that's really usable, I mean that's a pretty cool tool.
Yeah, yeah, he's
And you can imagine for a drywall guy, sanding
yeah.
out seams and having side light. Yeah.
Yeah, he tests a lot of stuff. He's CNS Drywall on Instagram,
Hmm.
and he does a lot of Marshalltown and test tools. He loves, showing what he does as well. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
a great guy. Like I said, one of the only guys that I like, drywall guys I recommend that I like going behind as a painter who actually
Yeah.
understands. Yeah, so good
You know, I-
relationship.
it's yeah, it sucks that it's not like that across the board. Like if you had a team that you worked with all the time, like carpenters, drywall guys, painters, tile guys, like it really could make everyone's life easier to just like be aware of the next person in line. Like because that's how it is for me. I have one carpenter that if I do work behind him, it's like he knows what I want. I know how he's gonna leave it. Like I don't worry about it. It's like I know he's gonna
You
have
don't have
nice
to
work. It's like
you don't have to buy him a nail set for Christmas,
yeah, yeah.
a
Have
nail
make sure
punch,
my
and go.
guys set all the nails. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
bought
Fixing
carpenters those,
joints.
and they're like, I go to hand it to them, and I'm like, here, man, I got you something, and they're like, oh, what's this? I'm like, it's a nail punch, and like, it's for like sinking your nails.
What's
Oh yeah,
this?
we've got those. We know what those are. I'm like, oh, okay, good. I
Yeah.
just wasn't sure, like, if you guys knew what
Yeah.
a nail set was, because obviously, like, do you see my fingers
Yep.
bleeding right now? Oh, okay,
Yeah.
yeah,
Got a few more that you missed.
yeah,
Yeah, but that would be nice if yeah, I mean, it can make your life really easy or fucking terrible to go behind someone that does really bad work, cuz
yeah,
at the end of the day we get stuck with whatever it is. So we either have to fix it or we have to come up with a reason why it's not going to look as good as a customer wants, you know?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I came across some siding guys once, and they had none of their. I can't even believe they were using nails on this like hardy like siding ish stuff, and
Yeah.
it was bad. Like all the little plastic things from their nail guns, and like the fact that they use
Blowout.
those nails, well, it was insane. And I like took pictures and sent them to the builder because he didn't give a shit. And I was like, "Yo, dude, are we
Yeah.
caulking these? What's going on with this plate?" And he's like, "Oh my goodness." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gonna charge you for this if I have to go set all of
Yeah.
these nails." Like, and he's like, "Well,
Yeah.
just do it and bill me." And I was like, "Are you sure?" And I gave him my rates, and he's like, "I'll have him come fix it." I'm like, "All right, good."
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
stop paying people when they say they're finished until you actually go on site, look at it, and inspect it, and then
Yeah.
pay them. Then hold a little bit.
Yeah. 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 That's not a bad idea. Not a bad way to run
Yeah,
business. We've got
yeah.
droughts that are going on here right now. So, like Aaron and I talked about a little bit, but Lake Mead and Lake Powell are like the reservoirs that feed us. And they're
Mm,
both at like 27%, 28% of capacity. So it's like
damn,
getting crazy over here. Yeah, I think we're gonna have like water restrictions and all that stuff going on.
dude, that
Should be
baffles me.
interesting.
Like, dude, like, LA should have never been a city because they didn't have any water.
Yeah, that's what I
Be
was talking to Aaron about. Like, we're gonna be a desert here. Like, we probably were always supposed to be a desert,
yeah.
but somehow we start growing shit
w-
along the coast.
Watch the movie Chinatown. You know, that's
Yeah,
about
is
the
that?
water rights in Los Angeles and even Phoenix, Arizona, dude. There's no water in the middle
Yeah,
of a desert. Who builds the biggest
yeah,
city? It's like,
yeah,
oh, we have a water shortage. Well, obviously you do. You
yeah.
live
No
in a
shit.
desert, like Sam
It is
Kinison.
weird. Yeah, yeah.
You live in
I
a
was out
fucking
there
desert.
recently.
Send them U-Hauls.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, if you
yeah,
drive through there, almost anywhere here too, like as soon as you get away from the beach, it looks like desert everywhere. It's just dirt everywhere. There's like nothing living naturally. Like there aren't just fields of grass or anything anywhere unless somebody's using sprinklers on it. You know.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I don't. They were gonna do a desalination plant here. Basically pull in ocean water and take the salt out of it. But that got shut down recently, like a couple months ago. They were going to do it in Huntington Beach. They shut that down, so they're not doing that anymore. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Like, I think most of our water comes from Colorado, from the Colorado River. That water
Yep.
comes from their mountain runoff.
Hmm.
And supposedly this last winter, they're like 35 or 45% lower snowpack than they usually have. So that's going to trickle down and affect everything else.
Yeah, the LA River, man, that thing is disgusting. That
Yeah, we're not
and
pulling
that,
any water out of that.
but that's where that actually that water comes from the Colorado River. You're just getting the very
Does it?
last.
If it,
Yeah, yeah, dude.
it's
Yeah, like
nasty
yeah.
by the time it gets there. How
I've watched some
funny.
documentaries on that, and even like the movie Chinatown. There's a couple other movies about it too, like
Yeah,
Mulholland and all those guys
yeah,
that were yeah, they ripped off somebody's property like that had some farmland to reroute the
yeah,
water, and it was some big
yeah,
beef, so they just went around him like, screw you, like
yeah.
insane, dude.
Well, and so like I don't know if it's the majority. A big amount of water that is used here is for like farming almonds.
Hmm.
It's like what, like so in Northern California, tons of almond trees, and they use a shitload of water. And I
Almond
just
Joy's
wonder,
got
like,
nuts, mounds don't.
yeah, like we need almonds that bad? Like, I don't know. It's
Yeah,
weird. I don't know where else they grow,
well,
but we use a ton of water
uh,
on it.
almonds are actually like the oil and stuff like that. I mean, it's actually in a lot more than you would think.
Is it?
what you can
I
get
I
from an
know.
almond. Yeah,
Yeah, the oils from them, and then nowadays we have almond milk, right? Like
yeah.
that's. I think that's all we have in our house now is almond milk.
It's almost like
Um,
almost as useful as a soybean.
yeah. Is it really? Do they use it in that much stuff? Because soybeans are in everything.
Yeah, not as much as soybeans, but yeah,
Yeah.
definitely multi-use.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they must be valuable because we spend a shit ton of water on it. Um, Probably a lot of water that we don't have,
Yeah,
but
yeah, and that's the
whatever.
thing. Like, cities are built in the wrong places, and like, it's some cities are they should just shut them down, make them ghost towns. Those people should move to where the water is, where the food
Yeah.
is. Send them
Yeah.
U-Hauls, like Sam Kinison said.
Yeah.
Don't send them food, send them U-Hauls.
Yeah. That was for the homeless people,
Yeah.
right? Or the starving
Ethi-
children. Send
in
U-Hauls.
Ethiopia, yeah, in Africa, it's just
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
go to where the food is. Go to the food.
Yeah.
It's over here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, oh.
Yeah. I remember that.
Some comedians have said the
Yeah.
most brilliant stuff, man. It's just like think of
Yeah. So
George
he was a
Carlin and guys like
preacher.
that.
A preacher.
Yeah,
I like George Carlin a lot. My dad used to listen to George Carlin all the time, and so I just heard it, through being around it. But man, he was pretty good. Even now, if you listen to him, it's like, man, his shit is clever. Really
dude,
clever.
I have a lot of comedians on my shuffle at work. Like
Yeah.
just like downloaded. And it's funny the random things that come on, like the Jerky Boys. I'm like, oh yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
and like, yeah, it's good. I like to
I
laugh a little at work.
yeah.
It's not all
I
music.
like yeah, I watch a lot of comedy. Yeah, it's interesting. I didn't man, maybe a couple of years ago, one of my guys was listening to comedy on a job site. And I was like, "Damn, that's a good idea." Like I had
Yeah,
never thought to listen to anything besides music on a job site. And then, I'll do like books on tape and shit like that, but um comedy is pretty good to listen to, like if you're just chilling. Like for me, if I'm
yeah,
laying in bed or something, I'll put a comedy show on, but then close my eyes, and just listen to
yeah,
jokes, you know?
yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, comedy's good for your soul, man. Makes you laugh, and if you don't have a
Yeah.
sense of humor, you should get one in this world, man. Because uptight people, uppity, fucking, you shouldn't say fucking shit. And, yeah,
Yeah.
listen to a
That's a
comedian's point of
stressful
view on
life.
all that. Yeah,
Yeah, I think that those people are probably stressed out, anxious
you can
about
find
everything.
you can find you a good Christian comedian who tell you some funny Christian jokes if that's your thing.
Yeah, even that, like Jim Gaffigan is a clean comedian, and he's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, there are a lot of really good comedians that don't cuss and stuff. And I got
Yeah.
I got a painter joke that's like kind of
Yeah.
Christian-y. Can I tell it on your podcast?
Yeah, what is it?
All right, these two guys get hired to paint a church, and they're getting close to the end of the church, and like they're running out of paint. And one of the guys says, "Maybe we should just water the paint down and finish instead of going to the paint store and getting more paint." And the other guy goes, "Man, I don't know if that's a good idea, man. It's a church, yo." And he's like, "Ah, now let's do it." So they water the paint down and finish the church, and then it starts thundering and lightning and raining and washes all the paint off the church, and this voice from heaven says, "Repaint and thin no more."
Nice.
Yeah,
Repaint.
there's not very many painter jokes, but I've got a few
Yeah, there aren't many.
that I've picked
Yeah,
up over the years.
yeah. One of these things
I
I
just
was going to do with Aaron before he went off was to come up with, before we're going to sign off, is come up with a good follow on Instagram. Who's someone that you would recommend for people to follow? Good content, good whatever,
totally
nice
funny.
person.
On my way home, I had to give this guy a shout out because I've been following him. He's not a painter. How about non-painting people? Like, I
Yeah,
don't follow too
whatever.
many non-painters. The best
Yeah.
damn roofer, the
Oh
best damn
yeah,
roofer,
that's a
BDR,
good
dude. He
follow.
is hilarious. You have to be able to like understand a little bit of comedy and not get all butthurty
Yeah,
or
offended.
don't
Yeah,
get offended. And he's like super anti-liberal or whatever. Like, and he's getting all governmenty and shit now. He's a Canadian dude, but the best damn
yeah,
ripper is fucking hilarious, dude. He just made this song about if you don't like my quote, you can go fuck yourself, and it
yeah.
made me laugh so hard this morning. Like, it's great.
Yeah, there's good content there. There's another guy that I follow. I can't think of his name right now. I'll have to figure it out. But he's been doing a lot more, like political stuff lately too. But it's clever shit and it's funny. It's like I don't know. I don't know how much time these guys spend on just pulling content. Because
Oh,
they'll
just
show like 5 to 10 clips in a row that are all like you had to cut those, edit them, post them up.
yeah.
Like it all takes time. I mean, that's not just a quick 5 minute thing.
No, the
Um,
best damn ripper. He's big on YouTube, so he has full like editing and like
yeah,
couple of years back, he was really just like doing it with his phone, but he hit it big, and he's kind of like it looks like he's trying to get a show to be like the next
yeah.
Letter Kenny or what's the one the Trailer Park Boys,
Oh
you
yeah,
know that
yeah,
Canadian humor.
yeah,
It's funny. It gets very offensive, but I like that kind of humor, so I don't,
yeah,
it's nothing I could play on a job site.
yeah, yeah. What's funny? That's also offensive for a lot of people is South Park.
Oh yeah,
How long
yeah,
that's been running, how it continues
yeah.
to run. They're constantly doing new shit. Like that kind of surprises me that that's still going this day and age.
I had all the VHS tapes. Um,
Yeah.
Well, my daughter, she's 26 now, so she was about 4 years old, five, into cartoons, and those were daddy's cartoons, and
Yeah.
these are your Disney, which I don't know which would have been
Yeah.
worse. Like Disney is probably
Right.
pretty bad for kids, and we weren't no Barney. You're
Yeah.
not allowed to watch Barney ever. And SpongeBob just
Yeah.
makes kids fucking retarded. Uh, but yeah, I had the full South Park. I actually lived in Denver at the time when they popped out, so I would do work in Park County,
Yeah.
which is where it's kind of geared out of.
On
And
the show. Yeah.
yeah, I don't watch it anymore. Like I don't know. I guess I kind of grew out of the cartoon kind
Yeah.
comedy.
I don't
Like
ever
the
watch it. Yeah, like I'll see him come up or I'll see him in clips, or in headlines or whatever. And
yeah,
it's like, man, those guys are fucking smart though. Like just
wicked
how
smart.
they're
Yeah,
yeah, how they poke at topics and how they're able to like they do shit
uh,
that's like really obvious but not, saying whatever's not supposed to be said.
I, I
It's pretty
I went and
hilarious.
bought all their movies, like Orgasmo and Basketball, of course. And then they
Yeah.
had Cannibal the musical. I have all of those on DVD. I had them on VHS at one time, but I upscaled. And
Yeah.
occasionally I'll go through like a bender. Well, really good cartoon comedy that I really liked was the Boondocks.
I
Boondocks
never got
was
into that.
hilarious. Oh man, that was funny. Yeah, check out Boondocks. That was funny. And Family Guy,
Is
of
that
course,
recent
but
or is that older?
Boondocks is 90s. I would say late 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I don't
might have
know.
missed that. Yeah,
It was
pretty
on
good.
like Comedy Central. But yeah.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, comedy is a great thing to listen to at work, especially if you're around, some really uptighty people. Put your headphones on and just giggle a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, it
Yeah.
definitely puts you in a good mood, different headspace.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to have. We got to do I think we got to go live. You and I hop on the live again. I think Aaron's
Sure.
allergic to doing that. But I think
Yeah.
it'd be fun to get in there, let people ask
I
questions
went.
and shit like that real time.
I get it. I went off on some dude today on my live, like unintentionally, just because like I have some shit going on in my life right now. I'm really defensive, and
Yeah.
the whole Facebook groups kind of have like made me on the defensive a little bit because you don't know who's new on my thing, and they're like,
Yeah.
throwing out some shit, and I was just like, who cares what you think, dude? Like this is,
Yeah.
it's my show, motherfucker. But
Yeah. Yeah.
in the comments, and I should have just. It's hard to look over that stuff sometimes, though.
Yeah. I've had talks
I
with Aaron
apologize.
about it. Yeah, I've talked to
I
Aaron
did.
about it, and he's like a little self conscious about going off on people and shit like that. But for me, it's like I don't. I mean, it's legitimate reasons,
You
Any
don't.
shit that
It's
bothers him,
weird.
it's like, it's legitimate.
You don't have people attacking you. Yeah, I've
No,
never
well,
seen
I don't.
anybody attack you on social media, but like I've been in the middle of fucking some deep shit because I fight back or I talk back.
Yeah,
And Aaron's the same
right.
way. He's very
Yeah,
opinionated, so
exactly. Yeah, and
yeah,
that's I like giving my opinion, but I don't post very much. So there's not very much for anybody to poke at, really. But
yeah,
that's why going live and shit like that, that's fun because people can interact and they can poke holes or whatever. Um, but you guys have rough edges too. Where like
yeah.
you really don't give a fuck. I don't give a
I'm
fuck,
not
but you guys
on.
really, really don't give a fuck.
I'm not on here for business, man. Like it's like
Yeah, well, that's the same for me.
yeah,
That's why for me, it doesn't matter, like if it's an argument or whatever. But I also don't want to go out of my way to get in an argument about fucking paint shit. You know what I mean?
no, yeah.
And I think
I
for
even like
you, like you're so public on all these channels where people feel like they know you more, people feel like they can interact with you more, and then
yeah.
along with that is like all these different fucking personalities of everyone. It's like someone else had a bad day, they went and posted some shit on your Facebook group, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's yeah,
I get jaded occasionally, and like even in the Facebook groups, I know the answer to something to a question, but I already
yeah,
know there's going to be 30 different answers, and like I just recently started posting again, and I do see that people like they recognize like what I said is it's coming from experience. It's not just
yeah,
yeah, well, oh, I know what I do, and I've been painting for 2 years, and
right,
like
yeah.
so
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
but
that's how it is. So I do the same thing. I've joined a few of these Facebook groups, and man, people are constantly posting. It's amazing how many people post in there. A lot of the shit is the same, over and over and over. Um, but yeah, I run into some posts and I'm like, I'll even write out like a paragraph and then
yeah,
just be like, "Man, I don't want to fucking argue about it. So
delete.
delete,
Yeah.
unsend. Yeah, fucking close it out and go do something else. But
No,
yeah,
that
it's the same for me.
the the Shane Glasgow guy, he runs a painting company in Minnesota. He's got a
Mm,
lot of really good content. I think he posted on YouTube as well. He's super funny and he's got a good personality. I brought him over to Instagram. I'm like, dude, you need to get on Instagram. And he's if so that's another account like that. He's fairly
yeah,
new. Shane Glasgow, Shane.Glasgow. Super funny guy. And like he was getting ripped apart in Facebook groups, but he doesn't care. And like he's kind of a
yeah,
comedian. So his responses and stuff are super genuinely funny. And he actually messages me now and again with these silly songs and shit. It's just
yeah,
I like that dude. Yeah.
yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fun. I mean, I like having it, even if there is some bullshit in there.
Sure.
um, I mean, there was nothing before. So having this, even with flaws, is more fun than not having it.
You know, the initial like awesome of Instagram, like for 3 years, it was
Yeah.
cool. And then like I always said, you put enough rats in a box, eventually they start to eat each other.
Yeah.
And that's what happened to everybody that was coming out strong. And like there was all kinds of
Yeah.
really awesome friendships made. And then it's kind of petered out, but the
Hmm.
next season is starting right now. Like the
Yeah.
next episode of new people that are just discovering and they're just as excited. And then now there's a bunch of jaded guys that
Yeah.
have been on here
The-
for a
I was
ridiculous
on here
amount
since
of
day
time. Like,
one. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. And I feel like that too. Like when I bring somebody over and then I'm just not as like within the last couple months, I've been kind of standoffish and like, uh, because I've been doing it for 3 years and I kind of just need to pull back for some self reflection and self
Yeah.
time. And, I'm like, yeah,
Hmm.
no, man, I just can't. answer questions every day right now. I'll
Yeah.
get back to it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not gone, but I definitely needed a little relaxation time, so focus on
Yeah.
my music stuff.
That's tough. Yeah. I know Aaron is in touch with a lot of people on Instagram too. And Danny Topline is also, I don't know how much he does nowadays, but you guys do a lot of question and answer on there. And that's the same thing. That is
Yeah.
not quick. That's not like a 5 minute thing and you're done. That's like a,
No,
uh, few sentences, send it off, another question, send it off. Like you could have a full conversation in there and that shit eats up 20, 30 minutes of your day pretty easily.
I
And
just
then I've
switched
had people
to
ask me for help on estimates and I'm like, fuck, dude, like I got to spend
you
15
got
to
to
20 minutes to give you some good advice,
yeah, it's got to be a rare person that actually has been communicating with me for a long time,
Yeah,
before I'll like
that's
super
how it is.
engage.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I do the voice thing now. Like if
Yeah.
after two times of back and forth, I'm done typing. Or I'll just like
Yeah.
straight up video chat the person. Will be like, oh, I'm
Right.
like, yeah, this is a video
Yeah.
chat thing, dude. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like let's talk about painting. Like I'm sick of typing and like
Yeah. Yeah.
you know hit me up anytime. And a lot of people they don't abuse it or anything, but yeah, no, like
Yeah.
even like Johnny the Happy Painter hit me up with a question today about
Yeah.
DTM, and I was like, yeah, no, dude. And it took me a while to get back to it because I was actually, you know, painting all
Working.
day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I've been getting back in the field a lot more, um, because I have a new guy and I got to kind of show him what's up.
Yeah.
Like, well, this is how fast you
How's
can
it
do shit.
feel? How are you liking getting in there? Are you over it? Get in there,
No,
get
it's
your
it's
training done and move on?
it's good. I had some like medical, like I have high cholesterol, so I changed my diet and things like that. So I have more energy now because I'm not eating fucking bacon all the time, and um,
Yeah.
yeah, so like it actually feels better. I was very lethargic, and I smoke cigarettes as well, so um,
Hmm.
I had to like, do I quit bacon or cigarettes? I chose bacon.
Yeah.
So
Fair
I
trade.
it, but yeah, it actually it's very motivating for me, like physically and mentally, just to get out there and bust. I can't bust, like for 12 hours a day like I used to, but like I
Yeah.
grabbed the sprayer today, and because I had the new guy, he's very efficient and was kept killing it, but I just kind of hopped on just to show him what's up,
Yeah.
like watch this,
Yeah. Yeah.
motherfucker.
Yeah. Yep. yeah.
And he was
Every,
he's back rolling behind me, and he's like perfect because I have people, my back roller has to communicate with the sprayer and say,
yeah.
too much, too little. Okay,
Yeah.
lighten up, a
Yeah.
little more.
Yeah.
And he was just like, whoa. I was like, yeah, dude.
yeah.
And we were done by one. That's what I said. Like if I would have left him there spraying and back rolling, he would have taken till about 3 o'clock.
Right.
So I just grabbed the
Yeah.
sprayer and I said, start fucking rolling, dude. And he was keeping
Yeah.
tail with me, and it worked out good. I think he's gonna
Yeah.
work out, but I always say that, and fucking people end up
Yeah.
shit dead. So
That's what's tough about, and I don't, maybe it's all businesses, or maybe all manual labor businesses, but yeah, that sucks when you feel like something's working out and the person's getting along with the other people there. And then all of a sudden they're just gone. Now you got to fucking start over with reintroducing someone else to the company and all that. That's a shitty part
yeah,
about this business.
luckily I have Luke, who's been with me for almost 9 years now, and
Yeah.
I just say I refer everything. Like the new guy's asking me a lot of questions all day, and I do kind of go, dude, I'm fucking doing something right now. Can you ask Luke? Like just start
Yeah.
asking Luke questions before you ask me, because like
Yeah.
I'm focusing and he needs to learn anyway. Like to answer
Yeah.
questions. So
Yep. Yeah.
and I
Well, I
kind
think it helps them learn more too, or understand more if they have to explain it to someone else, the
absolutely.
why you do this, the
And,
why you do that. How do you
and that's
do
what
this?
and that's why I do it that way. Like there's a
Yeah.
scale, they ask the guy above you go through the chain of command in a sense, because
Yeah.
I'm not fucking answering questions all day if I'm here trying to play catch up.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but it's kind of cool because I am making a lot more money when I'm out in the field. Like those guys get more
For
days
sure.
off. I make more money, so which I
Yep.
really need right now.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, I think we should do a live sometime real soon.
Okay.
Maybe we post a Q&A or something like that and just hop on there one of these nights.
Yeah. I'm free on the weekends and evenings. Um,
Yeah.
Actually, I don't think we have anything on the schedule right now, so
Yeah. And then
I
I
don't know
do a full episode with you. We just got to make timing work out. Aaron went
Okay.
from like having some time available to fucking. He said he's going to be slammed to like Monday or Tuesday next week. So,
Yeah,
but I do want
we
to
got
get
a
something scheduled.
we've got a bunch of gigs coming up, which I'm excited about the band. So we're doing a full
Yeah, that's cool. Are you just guitar when you do these
yeah.
gigs? Always guitar, or you hop on bass? What do you?
I used to play bass for them, and then we got a bass player, so I play guitar and sing backup vocals, and
Yeah,
yeah, it's I can actually sing and play guitar, and they just do all lead guitars, and yeah, fucking great. We're gonna be
yeah.
doing some big surf competition, like thousands of people there on a stage at the beach. Like,
Nice. That's
yeah,
cool,
I'm
man.
stoked on that.
Yeah.
They're starting to hit
I
the big
think
towns, but
yeah, I think like when you're a kid, that's always like one of those iconic things, is like if you can play in front of a stage, like everyone watching you, you're fucking ripping on the guitar or the drums or singing. I used to, my older brother had a band and we had all the equipment in our house in our garage. And
yeah,
so everyone would always come to our house to practice. And, um, I play guitar mostly, but some drums, some bass. And, I would crack the garage door, like a foot or two, and then fucking turn up the amps and like
yeah.
play guitar like I'm playing to someone.
No, this is like the
Pretty
one
fun.
band that I could see the potential of us actually having a fairly large following here in Hawaii because it relates to the local population fairly well, surf
Yeah.
population, skate, weed
Yeah.
smokers. Um,
Yeah.
and it's starting to like people know our songs. Like I go, oh, you know the song
Yeah.
"Cruising Through the Homestead," selling Pakalolo for me. Oh yeah, that's you guys. I'm like, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
So
cool.
I've got a dream to play the
Nice.
Waikiki Shell
Yeah.
with that at some point. So
Yeah. That's cool. And when is that? When's your next show? Is that next week you said?
tomorrow,
Oh,
tomorrow,
tomorrow.
yeah, it's
Nice.
down in Ala Moana on the beach. I'll probably go live on my Facebook and Instagram. It's
Yeah.
Kiwalos. It's a graduation party, which is really big here. People hire bands for. And then
Yeah.
the surf competition, I'm not sure when that is. It should be coming up this month. But we've been
Yeah.
doing like 2 gigs a month now since COVID's let up, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Nice.
yeah,
That's cool. Right on.
yeah,
All right,
I
man.
still
We'll
have to
wrap it up. Oh,
I
I'm
still
sorry.
have to
Go
keep
ahead.
my day. I still have to keep my day job though.
Yeah.
But that's one thing.
Till
Like
you get rich and famous.
I didn't have delusions of grandeur as a 20-year-old, 30-year-old, and
Yeah.
still don't at almost 50. So
Yeah. Well, hopefully it hits a lotto.
yeah,
Is
so
play the right gig and fucking go big.
I need a sugar mama. Anybody taking applications?
That wouldn't be a bad gig either, huh? There's got to be sugar mamas out in Hawaii.
Yeah, cougars for sure.
Yeah,
Cougars
got
for
to be out
days.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't don't get married.
Yeah. Too late.
Yeah,
All right, man. Thanks for coming on. But yeah, like I said, I want to do something we can schedule and get a full episode in here with you.
absolutely. I'm available most times. Just I've been a little preoccupied lately, but I'm
Yeah,
back in the swing.
for sure. Right on, man. All right. Well, thanks for hopping
Thanks for
on with
having
me.
me.
Talk to you later.
Yeah, thanks for
All
having
right,
me as
Sam.
always.
Later.
Aloha.
Later, man.
As always, please like our YouTube page, give us 5-star only reviews on all podcast platforms. If you have questions or comments, send them over to hello@paintsniffers.com or on Instagram @paint_sniffers.
You can also watch the video version of the podcast on the Alpha Painting YouTube page. Go to playlists and it will be filed under Paint Sniffer Podcast. Via YouTube, you can write into QA@paintsniffer.com.
Thank you for listening to Paint Sniffer Podcast.